Greetings, all you Jackson Janets, and welcome to your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. I got something special for y'all this week. Not only do we have Gingy in the house, but we got someone coming in who's going to become our little stat lookup guru guy for us when me and Gingy get into weird arguments, and that is Laskers coming into the third seat, the hot seat, the money seat, whatever you want to call it. Guys, how's it going? Tough week.
Yo, Mutant Gingy in the house. Yeah, week 2, not looking so hot. Donkey.
Laskers in the house. Yeah, it was not a good week at all.
No. Before we get to Steelers talk, I want to talk about one thing, and it deals with the AFC North football here. Another AFC North football team pushing the Kansas City Chiefs absolutely to the brink, but this time pulling off the victory. And that's because it doesn't matter how many people are on IR. It doesn't matter if he has a healthy running back. Lamar Jackson wins football games. Should we be really concerned about this?
You know my level of concern with Lamar Jackson, Donkey.
I hear you, but we almost lost that team without him last year. He seems to be... remember how Michael Vick would just change games when he was in Atlanta? He seems to be a level above that in terms of a single guy who just seems to change a football game. I mean, yeah, he has games where if you make him throw, it can look bad. But at the same time, he has games where you could put 11 people in the box and he's going to run for 200 yards.
So this was his 9th career game with 100-plus passing yards and 100-plus rushing yards. That's pretty good.
I feel like you bring that stat here, and they had to dumb down the stat. It seems like it should be 200 passing yards and 100 rushing yards, but because it's Lamar Jackson, it had to be below 200 passing yards.
He's the first person to do it since 1950, apparently.
I don't doubt. The dude is an absolute game wrecker. He's the kind of guy I wish that when he fell, he would have ended up in the Steelers somehow, because let's be honest, that skill set would be really fun to watch run around Pittsburgh. It'd be like having Cordell Stewart when offenses actually allow Cordell Stewart to be Cordell Stewart.
He did only have 107 yards rushing.
Only 107.
Can anyone actually tell me who's starting at running back for that team right now, though? Like, does anyone even know the running backs on the roster?
No.
You know, is there Gus Edwards on there?
No, he got hurt.
Oh,
He got hurt
dang.
right before the season. They lost like all their running backs. I mean, that's what I mean. Even as AFC North fans, none of us can actually tell you who's running the ball for Baltimore, which just makes it more impressive what Lamar's doing, because at this point, everyone has to be just lining in the box to stop him, and you still can't do it. That's just, I guess it's something pretty to see. I don't know. Also, question for you two. Early
Yes.
season MVP favorite, Derek Carr, who we just played, and we'll get to that more in depth, or Kyler Murray in what he's doing in Arizona?
Are those my only choices?
Oh, if you want to throw a dark horse in there, go ahead. Those two just seem to me right now.
Yeah,
running
I
that.
mean, that's a tough question.
It is a tough question. Right
You have a
now.
dark horse after week 2, hit me. Because, you know, dark horse is week 2. Very scary thing.
Chandler Jones on the other side of the
Oh,
ball.
my God. That 5-sack game week 1 was
Reckon?
nuts.
Reckon
True
heavy.
that.
I think my choice right now is Kyler Murray.
We got a lot of Arizona love going there, and I can feel it. I understand why. Those guys are playing great football, and I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that division right now, let's be honest, because do they have a loss as a division yet?
I will
Laskers, you
look
need to
at
look
it.
this up for me and tell me if
Give
the
me a
NFC
second.
West has a single loss. I need to know this. It is very important to the Steelers podcast how the NFC West is played because we play one team from that division this year, so I need to know how good they are.
The Seattle Seahawks have a loss.
Yes, that's the team we play. There is hope for us. Let's go. All right. So, should we get into Steeler football? What happened this week?
Oh,
Lost
boy.
to the Oakland Raiders.
Donkey, it
Maybe
was
more importantly, injuries.
Okay,
Let's start
Donkey.
at injuries.
Injuries overall coming into the game. Banged up. No Devin Bush. No Joe Hayden. Pass coverage over the middle was literally impossible. Pass coverage deep was going to be literally impossible. And it didn't look good. I mean, the Raiders can consistently move the ball. The Steelers could not consistently move the ball on offense. Still can't run. And Ben was under duress. Donkey.
A lot.
Was he ever? So let's start and focus on one point, and I'll let you both get into it. I want to start on the defensive side of the ball. That team, after losing TJ, looked, let's be honest here, terrible. The only player who was generating anything was Cam Hayward. The coverage in the secondary was bad. And Steeler fans are out here trying to be like, but we kept Darren Waller down to only 6 catches for 67 yards. But anyone who watched that football game, Oakland, for the whole first half of the game where he didn't have a single catch, never even looked to his side of the field. Derek Carr's first read was the opposite side of the field every time, and it was open every time. If they didn't try to run the football, they probably would have had 21 first half points, but thank God they tried to run the ball, and that always put them behind the chains. But then 2 big things happen. Alu fractures his ankle. We lose that in the middle. TJ Watt hurts his groin. Both injuries are going to hurt moving forward. Explain to me how the Steelers can move on with what they have if TJ Watt is not there. How do we go forward with the defense the way it was at the end of last week?
Donkey, I don't know. I can't answer that question for you. TJ Watt looks like a $116 million player in there. I think he's worth
He looks
every
like
penny.
he should get half of our team salary, to be honest.
I feel he makes that much of a difference. Donkey, and I'm not sure how they're going to compensate for it. I'm glad I'm not in the position to try to figure that out.
I'm in the same position. I don't know how we can figure it out without TJ Watt.
All right, so defense might be in trouble here. Let's be honest, that secondary looks very suspect. I don't know if we have more than 2 cornerbacks that can cover. Maybe 2. I mean, we traded for Ahkello Witherspoon because, hell, we needed someone else. He gets burned on like his second snap as a Steeler for a touchdown by Ruggs. And let's be honest, that's a play that's half on Witherspoon, half on Minkah Fitzpatrick, because Minkah Fitzpatrick jumped down, was playing deep safety, and jumped down to double cover Waller, which is what the Steelers were doing all day. Oakland knew it, took advantage, threw it right behind Minkah because they knew he'd be jumping down on Waller. I'm not sure I trust any of these corners. It looks like cutting Steven Nelson might have been the dumbest move we ever made. And let's be honest here. Joe Schobert looks like last year's Joe Schobert, not the Pro Bowler from 3 years ago in Cleveland. The guy who was the worst middle linebacker in coverage. That looks like the Schobert we got. He was just 2 steps behind every play.
He was getting burnt. Donkey.
I mean, he makes me miss Vince Williams, and that's saying something. I didn't think I'd be saying that this early in the year, but hey, Vince, unretire? Question mark. So I know the one player I got to give props to outside of the basic Cam Hayward, TJ did their thing. Robert Spillane filled in and did exactly what he's supposed to do as a downhill linebacker.
I agree. Hell yeah, that's Spillane playing hard Steeler football. I seen it the whole way, Donkey. He was hitting hard too. He was making a difference.
Laskers, this is going to be one for you. So everyone knows I hate Danny Smith, right? Can someone, Laskers maybe, because you seem to know these weird things, can you tell me when the last time the Steelers' special teams was the best unit on the field for 2 straight games? Like, seriously, what the hell?
I'm not sure I can answer that.
Like, I'm thinking back to when we had Miller way back. Gingy, Gingy last year when we were like 10 or 11 and Miller had that huge year as our punter because we punted it every damn drive because we couldn't move the ball. Like, do we have to go back that far to when our special teams was good?
I think we might have to.
And for anyone who's curious, everybody here loves a fat punter. And that, was he like at, Laskers, I need to look up on this. What was the average punt distance yesterday? Or not yesterday, last week. It was like 50 yards, something around there. Hit me up when you get that back. Till then, let's
13.
move
Oh,
to...
sorry, it went the wrong way. That was a punt returns.
Don't tell me that. That's bad. That's bad.
49.3.
All right. So close. 49.3. Okay. So let's move on to the offensive side of the ball. Do we want to start with the good, the bad, or the ugly? Laskers, good, bad, or ugly?
Let's go ugly.
All right. Offensive line. You two break it down because I'm just done with it.
Donkey. It's not good. We were talking a little bit before the cast, Donkey, of course, and Trey Turner doesn't look like the guy that he needs to be in that position.
Hey, he got a pretty good loogie in someone's face. That's about all I saw him do all Sunday.
Oh, he did too, and he got sent right out of the game. Not good discipline. Not good discipline, Donkey.
Not at all.
Yeah, that's a reoccurring theme for the Steelers. Laskers, what do you see from the line out there?
Can we maybe push back a few yards? That would be kind of helpful. It just wasn't good. I don't understand it.
All right, so the bad or the bad or the good, Gingy? We're gonna move on to part 2 of the offense. Bad or good?
Let's hear some good.
Ben Roethlisberger completed 2 deep passes. Should have been 3, but his wide receivers cannot make a contested catch. But the good is Ben did hit a deep throw, which is something he struggled to do all of last year. So maybe there's some signs.
I agree. I like when Ben had time and an open guy, which that will bring me to another point on the Steelers' offense. Not going to be labeled in the good section, but when he had time and he had a guy, I felt pretty strong about that.
I hear you on that. Laskers, I want to point out one thing to me, though, why it's only good and why there was no great. There are 2 plays, and I know I'm going to you first because I know Gigi really has a good response for this one. 2 plays to me changed the game. It's Derek Carr throws to a receiver who has 2 steps. Ben Roethlisberger throws to a receiver who has 6 steps. Can you tell me the results of those 2 plays?
For Derek Carr, it was a touchdown. For us, I believe it was not a touchdown.
It was a 40-yard gain after the cornerback forgot to touch fucking Claypool because he must have thought he'd still play college ball. All right, now that we know that happened on those 2 plays, Gingy, please explain to me how that was not the biggest impact on the football game.
I felt like the biggest impact on the football game, Donkey, is losing TJ Watt. Clearly, on my end.
That's a fair point. The defense definitely not the same without him.
Midway through the second quarter, Donkey, he was already causing turnovers, had a forced fumble. Granted, they did fall back on it, but still had a forced fumble, sack, disrupts Derek Carr. You know what I mean? That whole defense, that whole scheme is predicated on not necessarily James Pierre being able to cover a guy in the open field for 7 seconds.
If he could cover him for 3 seconds, I'd be happy.
And typically TJ's there in 2.5, and that is how that works. And Donkey, if you don't have that $116 million guy in there, I don't think the whole scheme works. I think the whole scheme falls apart, man. But also, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing I'm not going to say vaunted, but a pretty well, spoken of Steelers wide receivers core between the Juju and Deontay. Oh, he's got moves.
S-O-F-T. Soft.
I'm not seeing much separation, Donkey, on any of these guys.
Claypool had really good separation on 2 of the plays.
You're right, totally wrong. Claypool
Deontay!
is a beast.
Hey, DJ actually got open on a deep ball, which is my biggest hit on him, is he's more of a quick hitch guy, but he actually got open 40 yards down the field. I was impressed by that. But unfortunately, he got hurt on a meaningless play where my sister goes, "Why the hell aren't we kneeling the ball?" And I'm like, "Because you're at home and you have to put on a show." And he gets hurt on the meaningless play, and I go, "And we should have knelt the ball because, well, Laskers, we should have knelt the ball."
We definitely knelt the ball.
Knelt the ball.
So, what do we have left? All right. I need a stat lookup real quick. Najee Harris, yards per carry.
3.8.
Still less than what James Conner averaged last year at 4.2. That's the bad. Laskers, tell me how it gets better.
I think he needs to learn how to hit the hole better, and I think we need more push from the offensive line to help him. But he needs to be able to break a tackle or two and, break a tackle, please.
Yep, there is. Now, Gingy, there is one really, really good moment on a Najee run, or maybe it was a screen pass. Do you want to describe the play? Do you happen to know the play I'm talking about?
I'm not recalling
it. Was on the sideline.
Not recalling it right off the top of my head.
He might have stiff-armed someone in the next week on the sideline.
Oh, my.
Yeah, he did.
Yikes. He did, too.
I got to give Najee credit. He broke a tackle. I have been knocking him all year for him to do it, and he did it. So I'm giving him props there. The running game still falls in the bad for me when you have to consider our only passing touchdowns to a running back and our only running touchdowns to a wide receiver. I'm all sorts of confused what's going on in our running game, but I'm giving Najee at least a shout out on that because I've been calling him out to break a tackle, and that stiff arm, beauty.
That should do it. I agree. We need to see more of that, donkey. More of that.
Any final thoughts on the Oakland game? Oakland, oh my God. Vegas. I called them Oakland both times today, and no one corrected me. The Las Vegas Raider game, last thoughts. Let's go.
None of us think about
then
that.
to Gingy.
First of all, none of us think about that they're actually Las Vegas now. And, that was not a good game. We just need to do a lot better.
Thoughts on that, donkey, are disappointing. Disappointing. Lots of potential there. I saw a wounded Raiders team. They could have had a guy like Josh Jacobs in there, donkey, and that I think would have turned out a lot
Leatherwood
worse.
got hurt like 6 snaps into the game too. They're starting right tackle or left tackle.
Oh yeah.
First round draft pick.
Oh yeah. There was an opportunity lost, donkey. Opportunity lost. Got to regroup. Got to figure out how to play in the depth. Donkey, we're not going to have all these starting guys out there all 17 games. And the Steelers,
someone's got to step
and that
up.
coaching unit's going to have to figure out how to adjust.
It needs to do. Honestly, to me, discipline. It just looked like the Steelers were playing an undisciplined game. Offensive linemen were missing assignments. Defensive backs were missing assignments. It just felt undisciplined. But let's be honest here. Most people would have expected the Steelers to be 1-1 after 2 games looking at the schedule. So, not a lot hurt, right? That brings us to week 3. This is a must-win football game if the Steelers want to be competitive in the playoff scene.
True.
Tell me, what should we be looking at here in the Bengals?
We should be looking for that connection between Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase. That needs to be stopped, donkey. That is mission critical.
Luckily, it seems like T. Higgins won't play, so at least they're down one of the receivers out there.
Yeah.
And that guy torched us last year.
It's true, he did.
I'm with you, Ty. I honestly think it starts with stopping Joe Mixon, especially with our front 7 being hurt. I think we have to stop the run game. Mixon's the type of back that gives the Steelers fits in traditional sense of things. But yeah, definitely can't let the receivers get going. You can't let Chase over the top, and you can't let Tyler Boyd just catch 20 passes for 200 yards, which is something he did to us a couple years ago.
Yeah, we need to stop the tight ends, too.
Going to have to see a big return from these guys coming off injury, donkey.
Yeah, let's talk about Steelers missing with injury this week. We're definitely without Carlos Davis again. Alualu's out. Your boy Mondu's back on the 53, Gingy. I thought you would appreciate that.
Woot, woot.
And without Highsmith. So really, without 3 of the starting front 7, well, 4. Tuitt's out. So without 4 of the starting front 7, that defensive front needs to step up because we have seen the weakness in the secondary. Those guys need to step up and make a play. There's no doubt about it. And let's be honest here, Cincinnati's offensive line, not very good.
I agree, but we're gonna have to be. I want to see some points this week, Donkey. If we're talking, how we like to talk here in Pittsburgh land, playoffs football,
Super Bowls.
Super Bowls.
Super Bowls, yeah.
We're gonna have to see some points put on the board, and I'm gonna have to see Ben Roethlisberger confidently throw for 250 yards, not waddle in there, not struggle in there, not limp to the finish line, man. I'm getting a little nervous.
Does that mean you have given up on your belief that we can establish Najee and that can be the difference in games?
No, I am not.
Are we already done on that?
I have to have that belief. That's the only belief that this is going to work. That's the only belief that remains, Donkey.
All right. Laskers, you hear that? Tell me, do you think this offense can produce the running necessary to give Ben time to throw the ball? Or do you think it's going to be more of the same like the Oakland game where if Ben holds the ball for 2 seconds, he's going to get crushed?
I have a bad feeling that right now that's going to be our standard for a long time until they figure it out. And I'm not comfortable with that. They need to figure that out quickly.
Now, Gingy, I got a question here. Ben, pec injury. You have a little more knowledge on it than I do. Do you think that is going to affect the way he plays? Do you think he's going to go back to... Because let's be honest, when Ben got hurt last year because he took a couple hits throwing the ball deep, we became the dink and dunk Steelers. Do you think that's about to happen again?
I sure hope not. It can't happen like that, Donkey. It just can't. I am afraid that it might. It's certainly going to... I think it's going to affect throw and motion overall. I have some concerns. We'll have to wait and see, though. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know what it is.
Me too.
I don't know. When did it happen last week? Did you catch that?
Did it happen in the game or did it happen in practice?
It had to be. It had to be the hit Max Crosby laid on him in the middle, right? Because that was the one he was grimacing and just... He looked like that hit him. The one where Dotson just completely didn't block anything because, I don't know, the Steelers' offensive linemen are allergic to contact, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. But to be fair, there was about 6 or 7 other hits it could have been, but to me, the big one I remember was Max Crosby coming in untouched.
Probably the truth.
So, last point. Can the special teams stay special? I mean, really, we are 1-1 because of the special teams. Let's not play it any other way. The special teams is what changed the Buffalo game. Can they stay special, Laskers?
I certainly hope so, and the way that they've been playing, I think it's possible.
Also, Gingy, we got to give a super shout out here. Chris Boswell just set a record.
Oh?
Longest field goal in Heinz.
Oh, my. He did,
history.
too. Hey, he's had a ton of practice kicking their Donkey. This ain't his first rodeo. That is his home, and it looks like it. Glad to have him hold the record there.
What does it say about Heinz Field, though, that the record's 56 yards, and that was set this year? That field's been open for how long?
Shady.
Over almost 2 decades?
It's damn close, yeah.
Yeah, what it tells you is the open end is a bitch.
That's true. It's a cruel mistress. So when we look at the offensive side of the ball, obviously Cincinnati has a lot of blah things, but they brought in some guys they want to be elite pass rushers. They brought in some future guys. They brought in Mike Hilton. Do you think Mike Hilton gets to hit Ben Roethlisberger this week?
Yeah, that's what... I hope nobody gets to hit Ben Roethlisberger this week. That's the last thing we need, Donkey. I do think Mike Hilton is going to come in fired up and ready to play, though. And I sure wish we had him in the black and yellow, black and gold this week, Donkey.
And then, before we get into your predictions, Laskers, one more thing. If this offensive line doesn't find some magic blocking juju, does Ben Roethlisberger survive the season?
No. Not a chance.
All right, so I got a coin here. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to go either Laskers or Gingy. I want game predictions. Let's go Gingy game prediction.
Right on. All right. Gingy's calling it this week. 20-17, Pittsburgh Steelers. We're looking for Ben Roethlisberger to have 2 touchdown passes. Okay. And Joe Burrow is going to finish the game with 2 interceptions.
We do kill young quarterbacks, so I could see that. Laskers, prediction.
24-17.
By the way, winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's the score I have. Let's see if it's the teams.
2 special teams touchdowns. Not sure how they're going to happen, but special teams touchdowns.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
It's Steelers 24-17 or Bengals
Yes.
24-17?
Steelers 20.
All right. I have Steelers 24-17. Najee Harris, $132, and 3 touchies.
Ooh.
The running game gets established this week against the Bengals because, let's be honest, the Bengals are kind of lackluster in that department. I think we get it going. I'm also, though, very, very nervous because I feel this stops with a defensive stop. Defense stopping Joe Burrow throwing the ball to the end zone just off Chase's fingers. And I think we win because they didn't convert at the end. But I feel this is the week Matt Canada realizes if he tries to throw the ball the way he is, he's going to kill Ben. And I think you see an absolute focus on the run. And I think this is the type of team you can get something positive going. And say what you want. A lot of times all you have to do is get the team feeling positive. I'd like to see the train rolling here because this is the part of the year we got to start winning. I want the running game to go. Any final thoughts before we get to shout-outs from either of you?
We definitely need the running game to go. That's my final thought.
If the running game goes, the rest of the offense starts going too.
Agreed.
All right, let's go. Laskers, you're new to joining. Well, not new to joining, but new this week, I guess. You get first shout-out.
I got 2 shout-outs. One is to the Tampa Bay Rays for winning the AL East this year. You all knew I would have to do that. Yep, we got to do that. And the second is to follow your shout out last week with your dad and how appreciative I am of what he did for all of us and getting us Steelers games.
Oh yeah.
Right, well said.
Oh yeah.
Gingy, you're up.
Me, I'm looking at the Steeler, and last week, even amongst the loss, trying to find some positives. Robert Spillane was that positive, playing Steeler football. That was the guy last week that I got to look to, and I think the rest of the team can look in terms of energy, building around, performance. Shout out to Robert Spillane, even in the Steelers L.
My shout out is plain and simple. I brought it up. Anytime you set a Steeler record, I'm going to give you a shout out. Chris Boswell, way to kick the shit out of that pigskin. Keep it up. So that leads us to the end of the show. You know where to reach me, Viking Donkey on Xbox, Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. The YouTube is your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. Go ahead, hit us up. By the way, programming alert. This week, I am putting out Donk Nation's first power rankings. I will probably be bringing the episode Tuesday night for me, which means you'll see it on Wednesday for most everybody in the world who listens to us. If not, then it'll be Wednesday into Thursday, but I'm really going to try to get it done Tuesday. And with that, we'll let Laskers tell you where to reach him, and then when Lasker's done, we'll go to Gingy for him and a sign-off.
Laskers on basically everything is where to find me at, if you really want to.
Nice.
So sad.
So epic. Mutant Gingy, we on Xbox Live, rocking D2 Resurrected. This is some nostalgia, throwing it back. I'll tell you what, I want to see some nostalgia with this Pittsburgh Steelers, boys. We need a running game. And I'll tell you what, it's AFC North football. So everyone out there, wave them if you got them. Here we go.